Hey everyone, welcome to today's training. This training is specifically for the purposes of loan officers to get an understanding and an overview summary of what Sales Boomerang is, and to go over, again, a summary of all the different alerts that we have, 6 different types of alerts in all. Now, the caveat is that your lender may or may not have access to all 6 of these, but I'm going to go over all of them. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your point of contact within your organization, or you can even drop a note in this post if you do not know who that person is. But again, you may have access to all of these or some of these, but either way, if you're on here, you are using Sales Boomerang, and we're excited to get started and get you showing you how you can start to transform your business by utilizing the software. Now, what is Sales Boomerang? Sales Boomerang is a SaaS company that's a service, software as a service, and we're a mission-based SaaS, which is truly the foundation for where a lot of our successes come from, right? We started off with the foundation and a mission-driven company being no borrower left behind, meaning that this wasn't about us and how good we were going to be. This wasn't about hitting numbers and milestones. What this was truly about was starting with the initiative that there were borrowers that were in our database that were being turned down, or I guess prospects that we had spoken to that had been turned down. And how awesome would it be if there was some sort of like GPS or brain, or in this case, a borrower intelligence system that could be dropped into your database that can now notify you anytime a past borrower or even a past prospect is now qualified and ready to do a loan, whether they know it or not. And so that's what Sales Boomerang is. Again, in 12 short words, you can explain what Sales Boomerang is simply by stating, I'm notified anytime someone in my database is ready to do a loan. And what I love about that is not just ready, in most cases, qualified. So let's talk about that today. But again, we are Sales Boomerang, and we're so excited to be partnering with you. And as a loan officer, this is going to potentially change for the better and improve and skyrocket your business and get you retaining so much more of your business as a retention tool with everyone that you've spoken to and built a relationship with in the past. So when we talk about database, when you look at this picture, right, what do we think of? We think of, what is the gold mine that everyone is sitting on, that everyone in this industry is sitting on? However, they don't realize the actual effect that gold mine can have until you have a tool such as Sales Boomerang, right? So the idea is that everyone that's in your database represents a number, and that number is a number of transactions that they would do over a lifetime, right? A number of loans, mortgage transactions, mortgage loans, different types of loans, right? Because what happens when you realize that everyone in your database, every human, at least in the US, that does a mortgage does on average 11 loans in a lifetime of home ownership, right? So think about, whether you bought multiple homes in your lifetime, right, as you moved up, and then you refinanced each one of those homes several times, or gotten a line of credit, or streamlined a loan that you had because rates were great. You removed mortgage insurance. You were adding someone to the loan, or you were taking somebody off. All these different scenarios, cash out refis. That's a lot of loans that someone does over a lifetime, right? And so I want you to understand that for every person that's in your database, that doesn't just represent one loan, right? Just because they're in your database because you did one loan with them, I want you to understand that they represent multiple loans, multiple transactions. And when you realize, based on the number of people you have times 11, and you might say, well, that's really assuming that they're doing their first with me, and that I'm going to have 10 more. Well, then even if they're on number 5, I want you to get the next 6, right? And truly at Sales Boomerang, we believe that you should be in an industry as an expert, as a loan originator, as an expert in the industry. You should be a likable expert with knowledge and with the competency to be able to bring somebody the service when they that they need at a time that they need, and with the relationship that they have built and trusted within you to do that, right? So when you look at your database, you realize, oh my goodness, how much money am I leaving on the table? And so it's interesting when we run some of these loan loss reports for lenders that we work with, um, even out of their own database, we can literally show you down to the number of borrowers, which borrower, where they went, what mortgage company they went to, and it doesn't matter what the relationship is unless you are actually nurturing that. And so that's what Sales Boomerang is really going to help you do. Now, a lot of times when we look at adding a new system, a new software into our repertoire, heck, even if you buy a new book and you bring it into your house, the problem is, A, am I ever going to, number one, open it? And number two, am I ever going to read the whole thing? But I guess really most importantly is, am I going to extract anything of value that's going to have made that purchase worth my time and worth my while? And so at Sales Boomerang, what we've realized is, this adoption of a new software system is so important, and we wanted to make it fully automated for you, right? What do we mean by that? So no new logins to learn, no new system that you have to get trained on over and over again. Literally, we're going to go over this in about 20 minutes here, and certainly no new passwords and integrations on your end. Anything that had to do with integrating and uploading data and all of this stuff that, as a loan officer, you don't have time to really worry about or think about, has been taken care of on the back end by our development team and our CS team, our customer success team, as well as the right parties on your end at your company. So that's really awesome because that allows you to get right to work. In fact, so when you are receiving these alerts, right, they are going to come right into your CRM and or your email, right? They're going to come right into your CRM and or your email, meaning your CRM, well, again, you don't have to learn anything new. You're going to just use what you are already using, and we'll be able to pop up our alerts in there. Now, again, as a caveat, not all lenders, and check with your lender, check with your branch manager or your point of contact if you don't already know, but you should already either be receiving alerts through your CRM and or your email. Okay, not everyone has it set up to receive it through their CRM, so you may just be receiving just email alerts, or you may even be receiving just CRM alerts. Either way, I want to show you kind of real quickly what that looks like. So right here on your screen, this is a picture of what an email alert would look like, right? It would literally show up on your phone or in your desktop, laptop, whatever your device you're using. It would show up and look like this, right? And then over here would be, once you click on any one of the hyperlinks here, it actually opens up without you having to log in or learn a new system. It would open up a dashboard, right, of all of those different alerts. Basically, again, clients of yours that are ready to do business based on different types of criteria and the different types of alerts that we're going to go into just in a moment. All right. By the way, when you do receive this alert as an email, right, you have a couple different options. You can click show my alerts or take me to my alerts. That's going to obviously take you right to this dashboard. And then at the bottom down here, it says download resources. What's cool about that is there's resources, for example, like scripts that you can use specific to the different types of alerts and also specific to the different types of points of contact, right? So whether it was text, email, or one of my favorites, the straight up phone call, right? So people still love receiving phone calls, especially when they're getting good news like what we deliver. So if we were to zoom in on a email alert of what those alerts look like. So we heard the feedback and the cries of our loan officers, and we used to send out multiple alerts daily. Basically, every time you got an alert, you would get one. But in the case of this person, for example, if you were receiving 18 different alerts at 18 different times in the day on top of all your other emails, it could drive you a little bit crazy, right? But we didn't want you to miss that opportunity. So what we did was our development team, along with our product and CS team, developed a consolidated approach. So you get one email with all of your alerts for that day, and it breaks it down into the types of alerts. In this case, 18 alerts, where 17 were equity, and 1 was a mortgage inquiry alert. We'll talk about what those mean a little bit later. Again, here's that download resources button. You'll get this on every single alert, as well as take me straight to my alerts button. So when you click on those, it goes into a screen that looks just like this. Okay, and again, no logins, whether you're using a phone, and I've shown, I've been out on conferences and I've shown this, I've demoed this, and this is exactly what pops up, right on your phone screen or right on your laptop. And it's basically a breakdown of the alerts that you were given to for that day. So for example, here on this day, on February 13th to the 14th, that day, these are the alerts that this person had received. We don't scroll all the way down because they had 31. And by the way, you wouldn't receive 31 alerts if you're a loan officer in one day. This person happens to have access to more than normal, simply because this person was a branch manager. So, but in this case, take a look. You receive all your different alerts. Walter Gunderson, for example, is an equity alert. Right. This next person, Terry, is had their home listed, so it's a listing alert. Gabe is a mortgage inquiry alert. Right. And this one here is a credit watch, credit improvement alert. So you get all these different kinds of alerts. And then once you click on them, it gives you all the information that you would need on that person that is pulled from your database. So again, this is awesome because it basically lets you know, out of everyone that's in your database, again, who is ready, but who is also qualified, right? And so you can actually even set a date range of when you want to view the alerts that you received. And also you can actually base it on the types of alerts. If you only want to see, hey, I just want to see who had a credit improvement last week, you can set it so that you can just view that. And then you can even save, print out, and download your spreadsheets of these as well. Okay, pretty awesome stuff. So you guys have access to that. Again, this is what it looks like if you're receiving it through email. Now, if you're receiving it only through your CRM, you would get, for example, in this one, I believe this is Total Expert, you would get an alert, an open task, and it would just show you the information for, in this case, a client by the name of Mark Rogers. And this was a mortgage inquiry alert for Mark. And again, a mortgage inquiry alert, we'll dive into that a little bit later. Basically just means Mark had his credit report pulled within the last 24 hours, right? Pretty awesome stuff. So how does this work? Again, with the proprietary process on our end, doing everything from working with compliance to making sure that we have 100% accuracy in the data, or as close to 100% accuracy in the data, as we get those alerts out to you. We basically just want to make sure that the most important thing is that we deliver to you accurate and simplified information and alerts so that you can act on your database, act on these alerts right away without hassle, without having to second guess the information. And we're going to show you how and why. Okay. All right. So let's jump into the sales Boomerang alerts. And just as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go through all 6 of our core products. You may or may not have access to all 6 of these. So some of these may seem familiar. If others don't, then it's probably because your organization or company might not have access to them yet. But if you see something you like, please make a note of it and bring it up to us either in our Sales Boomerang community called SBX, or bring it up to your point of contact and maybe be an advocate. And we may be able to start opening up those alerts for you as well. So let's jump in. The first of the 6 is Credit Watch. Right, Credit Watch, and by the way, Credit Watch can also be known as credit improvement alerts or credit improvement notifications. When I use those 3 words, watch, notification, alerts, they are all the same. Okay, so what is that? Credit Watch, this is the cornerstone of Sales Boomerang, which basically you're going to know when your prospects have improved their credit in order for you to be able to now help them. Right, so a lot of companies, they have kind of a minimum credit score. I've seen it, minimums usually around 580. Some companies have it 600, others have it at 620. It also really depends. And this is set at the company or branch level for your organization, right? So Sales Boomerang doesn't set this. It's set by you guys, for you guys. And And so once a customer that had been turned down in the past, right, has now reached a tier that meets that minimum credit score, then you're going to get notified. So how awesome is that? So think of anyone that you've turned down in the past, right? Um, I know that I know that working in mortgages, and by the way, I was in the business for about 10 years as a top producing loan officer and then a top producing branch manager as well. I know there's a lot of reasons of why we turn somebody down. A lot of times it's a mix of underwriting. Maybe they got turned down through that process. They might have gotten turned down after you saw their credit report. They might have been turned down based on a conversation that you have, and you just knew it wasn't worth looking into their credit and pulling their credit right now. Or maybe you had started a conversation and you started to take their information into your database or CRM, but you just knew that the timing wasn't right. Now, if you can disposition those properly, and now this is somebody that that goes into this credit watch. Well, now what's going to happen is you'll be notified, right? They get classified. These records will get classified as a credit watch record, which means that when this person now hits that minimum credit score of 580, for example, if that's what your minimum is, or higher, you're going to get notified right away. And so when you have that opportunity, now you can call them back and give them the great news that, hey, you know what? I know you had you were shopping for a home, last spring, and it's been a year that since we've spoken, but I've got great news for you. My system notifies me anytime someone has a credit improvement that allows them to be able to get qualified and get the loan that they're looking for. And so this is great because you're going to be able to salvage loans. You're going to be able to get realtor referrals. Imagine if that person that I had just gotten off the phone with came from a realtor that referred them to me. I'd be able to call that real estate agent and be like, hey, John, listen, I just spoke with the Smiths and they're ready to go. Last year we weren't able to do anything for them because their credit just wasn't where it was at, if you recall. Well, my system notifies me anytime someone's ready to do a loan and has qualifying credit. And so they're ready to go now. I got them the pre-approval. Would you mind taking them out, in the next couple of weeks, reaching out to them and setting up a time? This realtor is going to be ecstatic. They're going to be like, wow, no one ever calls me with these kinds of with this kind of news. And so that's great news. Also, your clients, they're going to be elated. They're going to love to know that you are a smart lender, that you can do this, and they're going to want you to help other people as well. So this is great. You're going to never look at turn downs the same, right? Turn down, you're going to be able to turn people down, but never turn them away, and just let them know that you're going to be the one that reaches out to them when they are credit qualified. And so to not talk to anybody else, right? If other people are trying to be in your ear about refinancing, or sending you a ton of mail, marketing emails or anything like that, tell them to ignore them because you're the one that's a smart lender. You've already had the conversation. You already have a history now with them, and you truly want to be there with them every step of the way, the good and the bad. All right. So the other opportunity that's great with this credit watch is, so we just talked about turn downs, right? But what about people that you actually helped? Now, some of your lenders, some of your branches have actually opted in to be able to get credit watch alerts for current customers. So if someone had just snuck into a program based on their approval and their credit, well, how great would it be that you would know when they have improved credit so that you can get them into the next tier program, right? To be able to put them in a better situation. So that's another way to help current customers. And I mean, think about it. How many times, it's great to receive, as a turn down, it's great to receive a call that says, hey, you're now approved. But how great do you think a customer would feel if they received a call where you said, hey, listen, we did that loan for you last year. I just want to let you know, and you don't have to take any movement if you don't want, but my system lets me know when your credit is qualified for an even better program that could save you more money, or if you know what that specific person's need is based on your previous conversations, you can now deliver that to them, right? How awesome is that? And so those are just two of the great ways that Credit Watch can help you. And again, you're going to get plenty of those alerts. The next one is Mortgage Inquiry Watch. Again, also known as Mortgage Inquiry Alerts, or I think they're titled Market Watch in your data, in your alerts right now. So Market Watch meaning that they're in the market, and so we're watching those records. Okay, so anytime that someone is shopping for a mortgage, right? Think about this. Anytime that we've found out that a borrower of ours, or even a prospect, someone that we were trying to work with, anytime we found out that they were shopping with another lender, oh my gosh, that hurts so much. But by the time we found out, it was too late, right? They were already in the process, like in too deep. They were, had already paid for the appraisal. They had already filled out the application, had credit pulled, and now, they've been working with that lender for a couple weeks. What's great about Mortgage Inquiry Watch, guys, you're going to know within 24 hours. So they might have spoken with somebody, and that person may have pulled their, definitely pulled their credit. And within 24 hours, you're going to get notified. So now this gives you the opportunity to reach out to them and let them know. And you'll be surprised of what you hear. And so what's awesome about you having access to this kind of information, you're not only getting an alert simply because someone had their credit pulled by a competitor, right? So you're only receiving these, by the way, if they're from a mortgage company, right? This is a mortgage credit pull, not an auto loan pull or a credit card or anything like that. This is mortgage specific. And not only are you going to receive it if it's mortgage specific, you're also going to receive it if they've met your minimum credit score, and they have zero lates in the mortgage lates in the last 12, 0 foreclosures in the last 24, and 0 bankruptcy history in the last 36. So how awesome is that? You know the person is shopping, you know they're qualified, and you know that they have a clean, relatively clean mortgage and BK foreclosure history. This is awesome. These people are ready to move forward, and you are ready to put them into a position that you can help them get what they need. All right, and you'll be surprised at what you hear. Sometimes people think, well, isn't that just strange, or big brother-ish, or it's almost like, are we stalking our borrower? Listen, you are serving your borrowers. You're not stalking them. And again, I mean, here's what we hear all the time from different loan officers that we work with. They'll call up the person, and the person will say something like, "Oh my goodness, Pablo, I didn't realize that you did refinance loans. I thought you only did purchase loans," right? You and I might shake our head, but listen, the borrowers don't know our world. We know our world, but they certainly don't. We hear other things like, "I lost, I'm so glad you called. I was thinking about you, but I lost your information, your phone number. I got a new phone, over this last year. And so I'm so glad you called." Or this other person, we had a loan officer that said, another person was in their ear so much that he just said, "Oh, why not? Giving them a shot." And then as soon as this, as soon as their no borrower left behind lender gave them a call, within 24 hours, they hadn't moved far ahead enough to not be able to shift and start working with their smart lender. So just keep that in mind. I think this, and again, this is from what we hear and from what we see, this is one of our top producing alerts as far as conversions, right? Again, someone who's in the market, someone who's qualified. And here's what's also awesome about these, as you see on your screen here, this is a catch-all watch list, meaning that not only does this watch all of your customers, previous customers that are in your database, it also watches anyone who was even just a prospect, someone that maybe you started working with, that maybe had fell off the face of the earth. And we have those. This is going to keep an eye on those as well. So what better reason and way to follow up with somebody than when you know that they're shopping, right? So I love this one. Lots of opportunities there. Next one, guys and gals, is listing alert. So Sales Boomerang listing alerts, you're going to get this anytime a past borrower, right, a funded borrower of yours lists their home for sale, right? And again, we talk about the accuracy of this information. So the reason we say past borrower is because we need to know that that home is actually tied to that person that's in your database, right? So it is, yes, for funded deals only, but this is a great opportunity for a couple different things. Number one is, you want to call that borrower up, and you want to congratulate them, right? You want to have the great conversation. You're catching up with them. Tell me what's going on with life. How awesome is this? Where are you guys moving to? Why are you doing this? This must be a great time and a celebration for you. Tell me what's going on, and then I'll get them a pre-approval letter for the next home. So I'd love the opportunity to get you your next deal, right? I mean, our last one was so smooth, or we worked so hard. I'd love to be the one to get a crack at this next one. So you have an opportunity, obviously, to contact the seller, but then you also have an opportunity to contact an agent. So we work with over 5,000 different listing companies. So we not only get MLS listings and real estate listings uh, set by real estate agents, but we also get FSBOs as well. So in those opportunities is a great chance to reach out to a real estate agent with a referral, or if it was the original listing agent, you can contact them and ask them, hey, are you the one that listed this home? And they're going to wonder how you even knew. And you can say, hey, listen, my system notifies me anytime one of my past clients lists their home. So there's a chance that you're going to know about these home listings before even the original listing agent knows, especially and obviously if they weren't the one that listed that property, right? So really, I mean, this is one that opens up a lot of opportunities, again, to create and build trust with these referral partners, but then also a great way to get back in the door with an old borrower um, around this positive and hopefully positive. Sometimes people move for negative reasons, right? But it's just as important and powerful to know what that reason is, because if it is negative and they're selling a home, it's typically tied around something financial. So what better way to be the person that has that past relationship and can now help them moving forward? Awesome. Guys, next up is Equity Watch. I love this one because, as we all know in the mortgage business, that equity is king. But I really think that those that know who have equity, right? They say knowledge. If equity is king and knowledge is power, well, I think those that have the knowledge of who has equity, I think that's who holds the keys to the future. And this is what Equity Watch does for you, right? So when you're going to know when your past customers have, here it says enough equity. I say usable equity. You know when your past customers have enough usable equity. So if you closed a borrower, maybe 6 months or a year ago at 90% LTV, well, you're not going to get notified if they're now at 85. Okay, because the chances are there's not enough usable equity there, and those standards or those deltas, right? The difference of, so when I say usable, let's say your company is going to define what usable is, and it's going to be based on the different loan types of different loan scenarios, right? So, for example, if you have FHAs, and you want to be alerted anytime that they're 80%. Why? Because then we can remove mortgage insurance, right? What a great opportunity to know how much equity we have, so that we can call them as opposed to them calling other lenders or other lenders marketing our borrowers, right? So we want to be able to reach out to them to be able to remove that mortgage insurance. And then, by the way, the delta, let's say the delta set at 10%, you're going to get notified every time that person has 10% more available in equity. So that same borrower, you'll get notified when they're at 80, you'll get notified when they're at 70, you get notified when they're at 60, and so on. Okay, how awesome is that, right? And that doesn't mean they have to make a move every single chance, but I would be the loan officer that calls them up and says, hey, just giving you your awesome update, right? I've called you the last couple of times to let you know about the equity and how the growth in your in the value in your home and how you can use that. Listen, you're at 60% LTV right now. In this home, for example, you're at 63% LTV right now. You may or may not know what that means, but I know you were telling me last time we spoke that you're heading to retirement in the next 5 years, and you're really wondering. You were looking at how you could potentially start to build some additional cash flow for retirement. And I'll tell you what, based on the equity that you have and some of the investment opportunities that are in your area, I've ran some numbers. If you want to take, maybe 15, 20 minutes, come into my office, or we can do a Zoom call and I can show you what that looks like. And the best part about it is I already know you're approved, right? I just have to do some additional paperwork with you. But you literally, I can put you in a positive cash flow position based on what some of my realtors have showed me in their last workshop, where you can be looking at sitting real pretty for retirement if it's coming up in 5 years. Again, just as an example, guys, there's obviously so many other equity conversations you have, but again, equity is king, but so is knowledge. You're the one that can put those two together, right? Really cool. Let's take a look. And again, yes, this is for funded deals only. And by the way, you're probably wondering, well, how do we know what their value is? Again, these aren't arbitrary. Now, what we're using 3 of the top AVMs, valuation systems in the country, to get our numbers, so that when we report this information to you, again, we want to give you accurate data, right? We want to give you the most accurate data. And the only reason you're receiving these is because it's usable, meaning that, yes, they are in a position that you can help them, right? If they choose to or not, that's another question. But certainly you can help them. And the truth is that anytime you're getting a sales boomerang alert, it's always good news, right? You're never getting one that says that they've lost equity in their home, right? You're never going to get that one. So again, with equity, again, so many options of how you can help somebody. Don't need to work, spend any time on that. The next alert is Rate Watch. Guys, this one, again, is very straightforward. You're going to know when your rates drop as a company. You're going to know when your borrowers can benefit from those rates, right? So, for example, if your company rate is, say, your new company rates are at 3.5%, and you want to know when anyone in your database has a 0.5% higher or equal to that, well, that means that anyone that's in your database that was funded at a 4% or higher, you're going to get a notification on that. Pretty cool, right? So now, these are kind of what we call low-hanging fruit. These are just I would just straight up smile and dial and let these people know, hey, listen, rates have improved. We're in a position where we can offer you 0.5% or better. But really, I would focus the conversation not around just the rate. The rate is a reason to give them a call, but focus it around what their goal is, what they're trying to accomplish, and let them know that because of rates, we might be able to help you accomplish that goal sooner than maybe initially we had thought. So this is great. Again, a rate watch. Now, this is the last one, right? So the 6th core product. And this is one of my favorites, Debt Watch. This one lets you know when your borrowers have debt that has started to kind of creep up and maybe even go sky high. And not only when they have debt, but also when they have equity in their home, as well as when they qualify based on that minimum credit score, minimum LTV, and also a minimum home value. How awesome is this? This basically cherry picks your database for the best potential, debt consolidation refi possible. And what's awesome about this is that sometimes your borrowers, they don't even realize that, hey, they've got enough equity in their home to be able to get them to eliminate the debt that they've recently acquired, right? And so the company, again, your company sets what those minimums are, right? So they know what the minimum LTV is. You're gonna know what the minimum credit score is, what the minimum home value is, and even what the minimum revolving debt amount is, right? So let's say if that's 10,000 in credit cards, for example, and you've got a minimum of 70 LTV and your minimum home values of 150, or higher, and then of course that minimum credit score of maybe you've set it at 600. Right? Now you can call up this person. You literally can be the saving grace when maybe they didn't even realize what equity is and how it works, right? Remember, they live in their world. They're trying to take care of, getting the kids to practice, and, you know, getting to work on time and then getting home and making dinner. So they're not thinking about equity. They're not thinking about, you know, mortgage rates and how credit works, but you know. And now you don't only know how it works, you have a tool that delivers it right to your fingertips and says, boop, Mrs. Smith, you know, is a debt watch alert, and now you can contact her, and here are the parameters of what she has, right? What her scenario is. How awesome is that? And the great thing about all of these alerts, guys and gals, is that you are going to get more agent referrals than ever. You're going to add more value to them than they've ever added to you, and certainly than any other loan officer has ever added to them. You will become the center of influence. And another great thing is that as you're starting to close on these mortgage alerts, again, these are people that are in your database, right? So these aren't leads, these are referrals that you're getting on your database. How great is it going to be as you're closing, starting to close and fund some of these deals? You'll be able to make, let them know that I want to schedule our next loan conversation, right? Again, remember, Ms. Smith, my system notifies me anytime there's an improvement in your scenario that can help me put you in a better scenario, loan scenario, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in our data. I'm going to put you in our calendar right now. I'm going to reach out to you in about 6 months, either myself or my assistant. And it might even be sooner than that, you know, if your situation improves. But I definitely want to reach out to you in about 6 months anyway, just to check in on you. And I think this is great. So I want you to go ahead and put that down in your calendar. I'm putting it in mine. And don't forget my name and number. You know, put it in as Pablo Mortgage. So that way, when I call, you may not remember my name, especially if we don't speak for a year or so, or if you've got multiple Pablos that you know, but you'll certainly remember what we did and what I do. Okay, so this is awesome, guys, because again, this was not around when I was in business, but you know, there's not too many times where you can get an added on, a value added system where it's automated and it only delivers good news. I mean, how awesome is that? I can't even get, you know, some of my social media posts to only give me good news. Unfortunately, I got to get some of the negative stuff that comes along with it. This is truly a good news, no borrower left behind, automated borrower intelligence system. So again, remember, no borrower left behind. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for being a part of this community. Please drop any comments, you know, share a like or a success story that you have in the group into this post. And we just look forward to learning, growing with you, and watching your business and pipeline explode. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you real soon.